I used to be 6 foot, but the Army made me 5'10" and a half now.
Oh, really?
I lost an inch and a half in 17 years.
Wow. Well, we're the same height now.
Yeah, we are.
So that's good news.
So, it's good news for you, not great news for my ego. I'm done here.
Helen Yee here at the SHOT Show, being joined by the one and only, the multi-talented and man of many hats, Mr. Tim Kennedy. We are at the USCCA booth at the SHOT Show.
Yeah. Thanks for coming down here, by the way. Appreciate it. Love Las Vegas, man. What a fun city. Things are. Look at all this construction going on everywhere around us. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, always so much going on, just like yourself. And first off, congratulations. I know May 24th, it's a big day, especially for all your fans too. Scars and Stripes, your book, it's already #1 bestseller for a new release.
Yeah, it's we're months away, but the pre-orders alone are just overwhelming. Which is so cool for me to know that people want to know the story. It's also really scary because the book is, it's no holds barred, it's transparent, it's vulnerable, and it is every mistake. People know me from social media and from television, from fighting. They see me in my hand being raised in a moment of elation in a UFC fight, but they don't see the struggles in the gym, right? They don't see the cuts, and they don't see, they see me on top of a mountain looking like this picturesque vista, but they didn't see the bottom of my feet falling off in the training to get there. They didn't see the crotch rot as the in between my legs is literally just disgusting from walking for so long. You didn't see any of that in Instagram, but you see this moment. So this book is all of those moments, and it's a little scary for me that people are going to have that kind of access to who I am, but it's also, I think it's a pretty powerful story.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm sure so many of your fans will be inspired by that story as well. And you're such a busy man. Like I mentioned, man of many hats and many talents. I know you opened up a private school, right, in 2020. How's that going?
It is so exciting. So we opened Apogee Cedar Park, and we also have an online mentorship program for young men called Apogee Strong. And Apogee Strong, in a weird 2022 world where I think young men are struggling with who are they as men. I don't know how to change the tire on my car. I don't know how to change oil. I don't know how to start a fire when I have nothing. Does that make me not a man? No, it doesn't. But I can teach you those things. With discipline and intentionality. What can you do as a man? Me laying down, my hands calloused, and I'm tired, and I just pass out. Is that normal? Is that natural? Is that what it's supposed to be? So that's the Apogee Strong part, which is pretty cool. And then the Apogee Cedar Park, our physical school, with everything that's been happening in education and parents being so active, I think more so than ever in my lifetime, seeing people at parent-teacher conferences and going to school board meetings, and letting their voices be heard. And I'm begging and pleading parents to start running for positions on those boards. Don't let these unions and these educators take away what should be a parent's responsibility to train and educate their children. That's a parent's job. And this school really puts the onus on the child, which we called heroes, and the family unit. And seeing this just amazing visceral response from all the families is so encouraging. It gives me hope again that this next generation has hope.
Well, I love how passionate you are about everything and for that next generation. But I happened to notice on your Instagram yesterday you ran into two guys you've known for quite a while, right? Chuck Liddell and Luke Rockhold. What was that like?
So Chuck cornered me in my first pro fights, my first pro wins in my history. In the book, I actually talk about it. I fought in this tournament called the ECC, the Extreme Cage Fighting Championship. And I didn't have enough money to pay to get into a YMCA to cut weight, and Chuck paid for me to go in there. I didn't have money after I weighed in to go buy any food, and Chuck took me to California Pizza Kitchen and carb loaded me for my fight the next day. In the middle of the first fight, I got cut over my eyebrow, and had a doctor or the athletic commission seen that cut, they wouldn't have let me continue in 3 more fights to finish that fight and an additional 2 fights. At the end of the fight, Chuck grabs me and he runs and puts me into a mop closet, and he leaves me in there to hide me from the athletic commission. So absolute old school, just blue collar approach to fighting. That's Chuck Liddell, and that was one of my first coaches, one of my first friends in the industry. And then fighting for a world title with Strikeforce, Luke Rockhold, a super close decision. I didn't fight my best. Luke looked great. He made me look bad. So last night, kind of seen 3 generations, 3 eras of mixed martial arts as we're in Las Vegas, home to fighting. It was so cool. I spent the night with them, and they're also just great gems of humans.
And it was cool to see just kind of the full circle, right? Like you said, 3 generations back here in Vegas, the fight capital. But Luke Rockhold also, he was scheduled to have a fight in November, Madison Square Garden against Sean Strickland. But I think he got injured. Would you like to see him fight again?
Luke has always been so talented. He for 185, he's a giant. I'm not sure if you looked at the picture of us. Chuck looks like a 400-pound human. His head's huge, his hands are huge. And I'm in between so Chuck's the closest to the camera, so he naturally looks the largest. Then I'm next to that, and then Luke's next to that, and Luke is towering over me. I mean, he is a huge middleweight, but his skill and his discipline are the things that really made him the champion. Both the UFC and Strikeforce champion. He's the champ's champ for a little while. I'd watch him fight until he felt like he was done.
Well, what about the current UFC middleweight champion, Israel Adesanya? He has a rematch coming up against Robert Whittaker. What do you make of him as champion and how that rematch plays out?
He's so talented. He just drips raw, unadulterated talent. And I don't know him personally as a fighter. I love his style. Stylistically, it's a little bit of ego, but I look at my style and I look at him. I'm like, man, that's a really great matchup for me. As a rough-nosed grinder that's gonna punch my way in to body locks and takedowns and make it an ugly fight where he likes to fight pretty. There's part of my brain that's like, man, I can get out there and do this. But then watching him go out there and perform at that level, Robert Whittaker, I'm a huge fan. Love his style, love his hands, and love who he is as a man and as a fighter, as a person. So I'm pumped for that fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
If you could make a prediction on who you think wins, who do you think takes it?
So Adesanya got touched by Whittaker. The first time that they fought, more than he's ever been touched. Those hands went on. Ultimately, was able to maintain the belt. But when they fought the first time, I want to see what adjustments Whittaker made. And honestly, I could see an upset here.
Another fight that just got announced, Colby Covington, a man who also loves supporting the troops and is very patriotic. He has a fight against Jorge Masvidal, former teammates and good friends. What do you make of that?
Dude, so I love both those guys. I love how fired up they get fans. They are just such gravitating personalities, and they're also polarizing personalities. There's people that just hate one and hate the other, and so seeing characters and seeing fighters like that face off, match stylistically, I don't see this being any other fight than them going the distance that we are and just punching each other until one of them goes down. As a fight fan, that's a fight I look forward to. I'm a fan of both those guys, and Masvidal is one of my all-time favorites. I love watching him fight, and so it's gonna be one hell of a fight.
Who's your favorite fighter to watch right now?
I just want to throw old school names out there. I love Andre Arlovsky. He grew up at Jackson's with me before he left, went to Top Team. Misha Tate's back in the game. Cowboy Cerrone is still hanging out in there. These are guys that I grew up with fighting at Jackson's, and they're still in there and they're still in the mix. But this youth and this talent of this next generation of mixed martial artists, how fast the sport's evolved, it's frightening. I think I can do things and I could hang, and then I watch this new generation, and they're beautiful. They're poets of violence, and it's fun to watch.
Yeah,
I don't know if I could give you a name.
And someone that has garnered a lot of traction and attention, Khamzat Chimaev. He's kind of making waves, right?
Yeah. Who's not making waves, right? We have every one of the champions are champions that unquestionably deserve to be world champions. They are vicious fighters. But you also see like the Oliveira's, like his career storied, losses and then a crazy long win streak and back to being a champion and looking more fierce than he's ever looked ever. It's like, man, I don't even know. What a great time to be a fighter.
Exactly, and a fight fan. But in 2022, what can your fans expect from you?
So the release of the book, May 24th. That is going to be fun. I'm going to go on a media tour for 6 weeks. Like the big name that I'm excited to hang out with again that I haven't got to spend time with on podcasts and television. We have some TV coming up I can't talk about yet. We have some new projects in the collaboration in this industry, in the firearms industry, that are going to be coming out. And then, I just opened my headquarters in Cedar Park for Sheepdog Response, my defensive tactics training company. And that is the new stop for everybody that believes in freedom and that wants to learn how to protect their family. The mission statement of the company is to preserve and protect human life. And that company, we have a jiu-jitsu school in the building. You can learn how situational awareness. We have women's only courses, and I'm so excited about that physical building and what is now, I think, having some roots as a company. It's kind of exciting.
Well, congratulations on all your continued success, and for all your fans, what would you like to let them know?
Man, hustle. Like right now, it's been a crazy couple of years, and whether it's COVID or school or civil unrest, don't forget about your neighbors. Don't forget about like who you are, but go and train. Everything is easier when you're in shape. If you're struggling, if you're in darkness, if you're depressed, go exercise, right? Like, you haven't been intimate with your partner in a while, go exercise. Everything is easier. Sleep is easier. Food tastes better. You just got to go and do it. So, don't worry about following me. Go spend your time and go do work.